I've never told anyone this story. Not really, because it sounds fake, like the kind of thing you'd read on some sketchy paranormal forum late at night and immediately forget. But I swear to you, everything I'm about to say happened to me, and I don't know how I'm still sane after it. It started when I moved into this old rental house in rural Oregon, a tiny place hidden in a clearing about 30 minutes from the nearest gas station, which seemed perfect at the time. I was 24, fresh out of college, broke, and just needed something quiet where I could work on my photography portfolio and be left alone. The rent was suspiciously low, but the landlord was an old man who seemed more eager to be rid of the property than to make money from it. He handed me the keys without ever stepping out of his truck and said something strange as I turned to walk away. If you hear a knock at the back door after midnight, just don't answer. I'm serious. I thought he was joking or just trying to mess with me. What landlord says that with a straight face? But after the first week, I started to understand something wasn't right about the place. The house was cold, unnaturally cold. Not in the heater's broken way, but like the walls themselves held onto something that didn't want to leave. It always felt like someone was watching, especially from the woods that began just 20 feet from the backyard, trees tall and silent like they were waiting for something. The first time I heard the knock, it was 2:17 a.m. I'd fallen asleep editing photos and woke up with my laptop hot on my legs, the room lit only by the screen's glow. At first I thought I was dreaming, but then I heard it again. 3 steady knocks, slow and deliberate, coming from the back door. I froze. Every instinct in me said not to move, like a child hiding under the covers from a monster, hoping it'll just go away. I waited in that position, staring toward the hallway like something might come around the corner at any moment. But after about 5 minutes, the knocking stopped. I told myself it was probably a raccoon or maybe the wind pushing a branch against the door. That worked until the second night. This time it was earlier, 1:03 a.m., but the knocks were exactly the same. 3 slow, spaced-out knocks, too deliberate, too human. I stayed up until sunrise that night, jumping at every creak of the floorboards and sound of the wind. I didn't sleep, and I didn't answer. The next few days were quiet. No knocks, no weird feelings, just an uneasiness that wouldn't leave. I considered calling the landlord, but what would I even say? Hey, your house knocks after midnight. But then came the 5th night, and everything changed. The knock came at 3:12 a.m. I had started sleeping with a knife under my pillow, convinced it was some sick prank or a druggie messing with me. This time, the knock didn't stop. After the first 3 knocks, there was silence, and then 3 more. Then again. It kept repeating every 10 seconds like a metronome of dread, and after nearly 5 minutes of this, I snapped. I crept down the hallway, knife in hand, and stood by the back door without turning on any lights. I peeked through the side window. Nothing. But I felt something. Something just outside the field of vision, like if I looked away, I'd see it from the corner of my eye. I stayed like that, frozen, for a long time, and the knocking stopped. But the next morning I found something that made my blood run cold. On the outside of the door, carved into the wood, were 3 vertical scratches, not like from an animal, but deep and clean, as if something had clawed the door with surgical precision. I packed a bag that day and told myself I'd find another place to stay. But I made one mistake. I stayed 1 more night. Just 1. I don't remember falling asleep. I was so exhausted I must have passed out on the couch. When I woke up, the room was completely dark. My phone was dead, no power. I went to check the light switch and realized something was wrong with the air. It was heavy, like the whole house was holding its breath. That's when I heard it, footsteps above me. There was no second floor. The attic entrance was in the hallway, and I hadn't touched it since I moved in. The footsteps were slow, shuffling, like someone dragging their feet across old wood, and then the knocking came again. This time not from the back door, but from inside the house. I spun around in the dark, trying to find the source, but it echoed in every direction like the walls themselves were knocking. I grabbed my flashlight and turned it on, weak beam, barely useful, and shined it down the hallway. The attic hatch was open. I hadn't opened it. I never even touched the string. I don't know what possessed me, but I stepped forward, flashlight trembling in my grip, and shined it up into the attic. Nothing. Just dusty beams and old insulation. But then I heard breathing. Not mine. Heavy, ragged. Like someone was trying not to be heard.